what you really dislike about living in Berlin?
Which is the amount of homeless people, which I think is a very worrying thing, and also the fact that
you can get lost very easy here. You can die very easy here.
It's like interviewing for a job when you go to look for a place.
Was sind so Dinge, wo du sagst, boah, das finde ich überhaupt nicht geil?
people, I would say,
I remember writing a letter to Angela Merkel when I first moved here. And I said, come on, lady. And I got a very thoughtful letter back.
I always thought, like Germany, doesn't matter if it's east or west, that's, they are the lead country in Europe, and I don't have the feeling anymore.
So for me, Berlin is like this kind of city that with a knife with double risk. So you can be very cool over here, enjoy the city and be part of the city. But there is also this side that is a lot of drugs. There is a lot of excess that you can get lost here in drugs, party, sex, in a lot of these kind of things. So if you don't control it, I have experienced to so many people that in 3 months they are like super skinny, super, like you see the face that is like, dude, are you alive? Are you okay? And they don't stay more than 3, 4, 5 months maximum, because if not, they are gonna die. And you notice that. And that part of the city is a little weird because the people don't see it, the people don't realize it.
the amount of homeless people, which I think is a very worrying thing, and also the fact that people on the public transport where they are begging, I think it's normal if you sometimes don't have something to give, and that you cannot always give. I also don't always give, but but people usually they really ignore the homeless people, and I find that a bit disturbing sometimes. Yeah, I find it very rude. I find it very like, I don't know. I think the least you can say is like, "Oh, sorry, I don't have anything," but it's that doesn't happen.
I find Berlin quite dirty, and it bothers me that we people who live here, we are too cool, seems, to pick up the rubbish. When you go on a train station, it drives me really crazy, and I don't like the smoking culture. You stand at the train station and people smoke in your face.
And it's different Berlins. Each neighbor is a different Berlin. Yesterday we have the opportunity with dinner with a German one, and he says something very funny. In the Berlin that I live, that is Mitte, we don't see old people. We need more old people. And so like, I live in Neukölln and I see a lot of old people, So these little Berlins inside of the Berlin is very funny for me. And it's like the things that don't really like it is that one, like you can get lost very easy here. You can die very easy here if you don't take care about yourself in the party, sex, drugs, and all this kind of thing.
Bureaucracy. We have far too much of it, and it is far too intrusive, and it's far too paper-oriented. It's based in the 1950s and 60s. They haven't moved into the modern world. The only good thing about those idiotic lockdowns is that it forced some of the agencies to move things online. And I remember writing a letter to Angela Merkel when I first moved here. And I said, come on, lady. We're supposed to register within, I've forgotten, 30 days or something of living here, but you can't get an appointment. The appointments are a year out, but you must have this. This is required and this is required. And why? Automate it. Here's a really easy way to do it. It's not that challenging. And I got a very thoughtful letter back.
People say there is a lot of bureaucracy here, which I have to agree it is. But every time I call somewhere I need to sort something, I speak German, not perfect, but I can, keep up conversation. The people are nice, but you have to fill up 25 different papers to be sent back to the first paper. And what I miss massively, it's nothing is digitalized here. And I find, I always thought, like Germany, doesn't matter if it's east or west, that's, they are the lead country in Europe, and I don't have the feeling anymore. and I worry a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I think if they don't catch up in 10 years' time, Germany will be really, really behind on the world.
Yeah, the BVG.
Yeah,
The
okay,
BVG
public
is
transport,
yeah, the Public Transport Organization. It starts with their slogan, which is a heart with that says weil wir dich lieben. That means because we love you, and I think that's a very weird slogan for a public transport company. And then I think the organization is quite bad because they don't have any turnstiles at the stations, so of course it's very easy to get on it without paying, which a lot of people do. But then they have a very strict control system, so this is really something to watch out for in Berlin. And if they get you, it's very like you're there. They're not going to let you go, and people have run after other people to get them. And I think it's a bad system because it creates a lot of anxiety because you have this possibility of actually being like, well, maybe today I don't take the ticket. Yeah, because I think normal human beings do think that. But instead, like if there's somebody, then it's quite a problem, and they're also really not nice, and I really dislike that. But it's also good, I guess, because then like homeless people can get onto the public transport without having any problems. I think that's also good for them.
The weather so cold. It's cold like 8 months of the year. Like it's cold from October even until April, and gets dark and by 6 o'clock you're like, I should go to bed now, and then you check the time, it's just six.
One of the negative sides of Berlin is finding a place to live. That's one of the things that I think a lot of people have struggled, even myself. I don't know if there's too many people looking for an apartment or there are not too many apartments in the city. It really depends on what you're looking for, if you want to live with a roommate or if you are looking to live by yourself. I think both are difficult. You have interviews with a person who like with a roommate, but I remember that you need to kind of click a little bit with the person you're going to live with, and like it's like interviewing for a job when you go to look for a place. So you always have to describe yourself, like what do you like to do and stuff like that. And there are people who don't take you. Or they offer like, okay, well, I'm looking for a non-smoker, or I'm looking for a person who smokes because I smoke. People have different ways of living and how they want to share their space with.
Also in Berlin ist überwiegend das Problem jetzt, sage ich mal, auch mit den Mietverhältnissen für Wohnungen, dass die Miete wirklich sehr, sehr stark gestiegen ist, weswegen viele Probleme damit haben, das überhaupt zu bezahlen. Vor allem auch, wenn man jetzt, sage ich jetzt mal, in Berlin-Mitte leben möchte oder in Kreuzberg, ist das Problem, dass, wie gesagt, dort die Miete sehr hoch ist, weswegen man wirklich einen Job haben muss, wo man sehr gut verdient. Ansonsten findet man natürlich Wohnungen eher außerhalb.
Apart from the weather, is there anything else?
Yeah, there are other things. People, I would say. um,
Other people here?
Maybe compared to where I'm coming from, not so warm. I remember when I just came to Germany, I was so excited and so happy. In Nigeria, you would greet people on the road, hi, hello, you and your neighbors and all that. And then I was beaming with smiles, but people were looking at me so strange, like, who is this? But with time, I kind of adjusted. It may be over adjusted because right now, maybe, and I think it also depends on where you live, really, because we were living in the middle and everybody was not interested in speaking, maybe at the beginning. And then, but now that we moved to like the outskirts, people are more friendly, more family focused, and they greet, they want to interact with you better than where we're coming from. So yeah.
And I got a very thoughtful letter back, not from her, but from one of her assistants. And he said, you are correct. It is a jobs program. As these people retire, they are mostly women, they are mostly now in their 50s and 60s. As they retire, we will go with automation. But if we go with automation prior to their retirement, then we are putting people out of work and making things as miserable as the country you came from. And I thought, okay, that allows me to have perspective on this. It is a pain in the rear, but I get why they're doing it now, and I can be a little bit more supportive.
I can tell something more superficial about the city, that it's always under works. There are always works being done, in the streets. Like, okay, this street is cut, you can't come here, and the metro sometimes is like not working. But that's minimum. Mostly, I love the city.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of?
Yes. When I came here, I started my master's, and also,
So you studied in Berlin at the
yes,
university.
yes, at the
Okay.
university. I'm almost done yet now. I'm rounding up now. And one thing I noticed is, after asking a lot of questions, I realized that, especially for people who grew up here, they have like a group of friends, maybe they go to school together, and so it's hard to break into that circle. So, for instance, if you are studying together back home in Nigeria, if you are in the same class, we are already friends. Like, if we are going to have lunch, okay, let's go have lunch together. But it's not like that. I realized it's not like that here. You could be studying together, reading together, and then the person ups and goes to have lunch and not invite you. It was strange to me at first, but I didn't really feel so concerned because I'm here with my husband. And then sometimes I look at it like, how do people who are single, how do they cope then, because they feel that maybe it's the school that they get to meet. Of course, definitely there will be people who meet people at schools, but I've also heard a lot of experience from people that they came here to study or they came here alone, and it's really, really hard for them to make friends. Like, it's really, really hard to be able to have like a German friend, maybe an immigrant friend, maybe that could be easy. But someone who grew up here, they already have their own circle of friends,
Okay.
and it's hard to break it.
So it is kind of easy to also feel alone here.
Yeah, especially as a single person, it's really easy to feel alone.
And while moving here, while transitioning to this place, were there any difficulties that you encountered? Or did everything run smooth? How was
I'm
it
still
finding a flat?
doing the flat hopping. It's hard in Berlin, we all know that, to find accommodation long term or affordable. So paying 1,500, 2,000 euros rent, it's not possible. So I had a flat for, I think it was 9 months. And now I am in a flat for 4 months, but now I hope to find something long term. Although this hopping also helped me to see the areas I like and I don't like and where I would love to live. So it had advantages, So
And apart from the new culture and the weather, is there anything else which was maybe difficult for you when you transitioned to this place?
Yeah, the language.
The language.
Language is one major thing which I would advise anyone who wants to move. Like, just start learning like a year or 6 months. Once you know you're moving, just start learning the language. Even till now, it's still a bit it's still a bit hard because, yeah, the language. Where when you have children and you're kind of settling down, you need to know the language. A lot of people say you can come to Berlin without knowing the language. That's just if you're just here for a short while. If it's not quite. You need to learn the language.